Yo, what is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday Night Live. Happy to be back. No place I would rather be than streaming live on this TV. Gonna take a moment for people to join up. Streaming today live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all at once because technology is rad. Hope you're all having a great start to your year. I know I am. Feeling exceptionally hopeful for this year, actually. This feels like a good year. Feels like this year something big is gonna happen. Feels like the thing is gonna happen this year. Whatever that thing is, you feel it kind of coming through the energy field, which is a cool feeling to have. Feels hopeful. I like it. So say what's up in the chat. Let me know how you guys are doing today. And if you happen to be watching this on replay, you can still write to me and I will still read everything that you write because you are important to me. So today, for this new year, I have actually so much to talk about, so much that I can say. I just got off a really powerful men's group call. It was a lot about in relationships owning ourselves instead of going into blaming and shaming and guilting. How do we actually step into our ownership and integrity and trust that as we show up in this world, everything else kind of falls into place. What's up, Jasmine? Welcome. I have found that that strategy has actually been working for me, and not relationship specific, but just like as a general thing, to be less focused on the thing that I'm trying to get, the thing I'm trying to create, the thing I'm trying to have, and to be more focused on the how. If you are a gardener and you plant a plant, you're focused on watering that plant and making sure that plant's got sunlight and getting all the weeds out and stuff. You're focused on the how, right? The things going into that situation that are going to support the life and the growth of your plant. You don't try to grab the seed and pull the plant out of it. It's not like a cartoon where you can kind of stretch it and open it up and, make it bloom. You have to feed it the right, in Buddhism we say conditions, but you have to feed it the things that it needs to grow and to open up. And when we look at things like gardening or plants, when we look at nature, I like looking at nature. Nature mirrors back things to us. So when we look at nature, we can actually pretty clearly see how feeding the conditions to grow a thing is the way to have a thing. And yet, when we're in our lives, when it comes to like a relationship, we're trying to like have something, or a job, we're trying to have something, that we're so focused on trying to like grab something and have it and keep it and feel secure or accomplished or safe or valuable, that we strangle it and we suck the life out of it, and we forget to feed it the things that it needs. I guess this is a cultural thing, maybe it's a human thing, I'm not sure, but focusing on the results versus focusing on the process. How do we get this thing? What are the, if you want to have a good relationship, you feed it with love, you feed it with attention, you feed it with presence, you feed it with gifts, you feed it with things so that the thing grows the way that you want it. And by feeding it, you keep growing this thing. Right? So shifting to feeding the things that we want. If you are trying to create something in this world professionally, you know, feeding the conditions of that, feeding love and attention to the people around you, feeding honesty and integrity, feeding support. When I was in the monastery, I was leading meditations for the community. And as a monk, you know, for 10 years, I didn't touch money. I didn't have any use for it. But I knew that what I was feeding in that community, what I was giving into that community, the care, the love, the attention, that was being reciprocated with devotion and gratitude. That as I was giving my love was coming back to me, and therefore more people were coming to the community and more people wanted to support the community. And this thing got bigger and bigger, and it was growing and growing because we were feeding the conditions, we were giving to that place to allow it to grow. So when we think about this new year we're stepping into, this 2024 year, I actually started the video a couple minutes late because I mislabeled this talk as 2023. I wrote like January 9th, 2023, and I was like, oh shit, wait, no, it's 24. So still getting used to that. When we feel into this year that we're stepping into, this time frame, and years can be arbitrary. Every day can be like every other day, or we can actually really utilize these containers, right? These pockets of time to leverage and to add momentum to our process, to our growth. So as we step into this 2024 year, the question is, what kind of year do you want to have? If this was already January of 2025, and you've already gone through this 2024 year, what happened in this 2024 year that was amazing? If Seth wants to be, an internationally acclaimed meditation teacher, what does Seth need to do from now to there? Is it about Seth trying to get people to follow Seth? No. It would be about Seth focusing on Seth's personal practice. It would be about Seth doing the work for himself. It would be about Seth giving love and attention to those around him. It would be about Seth feeding energy into the well so that when Seth talks, the way that Seth can show up for others is of greatest value, of greatest benefit. And if Seth is showing up in a way of great value and benefit, then people are going to want to hear what Seth has to say and share those things. And so the thing grows. So for yourself to see where you want to be at the end of the year, what are the conditions that you need to feed if you want to be in a loving relationship, if you want to be financially more abundant, if you want to feel like you're more connected to your purpose, if you just want to have fun or even rest more, whatever the thing is for yourself, imagining that kind of like shining vision of yourself in the future, and what do you need to feed to reach that, what does this future you, what does their daily routine look like? What kind of diet do they have? How often do they go to the gym or go to yoga or go hiking? What kind of support does this future you have that allows them to be there, that allows them to show up in the way that they're showing up? If anyone's following my Instagram, actually no, my Facebook, but I guess my Facebook posts translate over to my Instagram posts automatically now. So I guess if you're following either one, I've mentioned a few times that I'm part of a men's group right now. It's called Man on Fire. Amazing, life-changing men's group. Anyone has any, if you're a man, or if there's any men in anybody's lives that are needing support, you know, I've been in part of many men's groups. I've started many little men's group chapters. This is the most comprehensive, dialed-in, professional, incredible, I mean, absolutely incredible men's group that I've ever been a part of, and even that I've ever heard of. It's very, very unique for a lot of reasons. So if anyone's interested in that, Man on Fire, I think their website's like manonfirerising.com. And I just share that from my heart. I get no like referral fees or something. I don't run this group in any way. So this is just me completely just passing off something that's been incredibly helpful for me. But another thing is that I myself, I see virtual clients, so I work with people one-on-one, and I also provide that support. And what I've been seeing both for myself and for the clients I work with is just how important it is to have support in your life. If you're going to see a therapist, if you're going to yoga classes, or, you know, people at the gym, some sort of personal training, whatever it is, for us to really rise to the next level, we need coaches, teachers, trainers. We need people that help us get to that next level that we wouldn't get to on our own. It's very, very rare to find a human being that is able to push themselves to those next levels totally on their own. A lot of us are capable of it, but not many of us do it. When I was in the monastery, I did a 3-month silent retreat. I was by myself for 3 months, and I was doing prostrations, which are these full-length bows where you lay down at a big piece of wood in my floor, like a door down, you know. And I was like sliding down this door and standing up and sliding down. And I did 100,000 of those. I counted. I did 100,000 of these things. And I was pushing myself, and I was focused, and I was dialed in. And still, I met with my teacher, you know, once every few weeks. And he just gave me little bits of guidance, and just the little things he said, the little reflections, it just completely shifted my experience in an amazing way, and brought me gifts I would have never been able to figure out and find on my own. I can't overstate enough how important it is to have support in our lives, to have friends that are supportive, that have aligned visions and values, to have partners, whether that's romantic partners, whether that's business partners, that people that are helping us to grow and bringing us to those next levels. And also to have people that are the caretakers, right? To have the acupuncturists or the masseuses or the personal trainers, or like myself, the spiritual guidance, right? The mental, emotional guidance. Even guys like Tony Robbins, who, you know, stand in front of 50,000, 100,000 people for a week and transform their lives and have all the answers for everybody. He goes in the back and he has people that are taking care of him, and he has people that ask questions and that shift his energy. One of my teachers, Donnie Epstein, he travels with Tony. Tony flies Donnie around the world to charge him up and help him out before he goes on stage, right? And then even Donnie gets sessions from people, right? And then you have, you know, the Dalai Lama, who has his field of advisors who are supporting that. All of us have and need support. The idea that you can do it on your own, this lone wolf thing, It's bullshit. And the idea that, we don't have the time or the money, it's also bullshit, because at the end of the day, the more dialed in we are with ourselves, the more time we're going to have that's usable, right? Less time on the phone, more time that we're actually energized, that we're actually going to make more money. We're going to be more productive, more present. It's kind of one of those catch-22 things where I knew for myself, for the men's group, for instance, it was money that I didn't have to invest on hand. But I said, you know what? By investing this money, I'm holding myself to a new standard, and I'm deciding that I'm going to go through this container to find a way to then create and generate more revenue for myself. And I have been doing that. So sometimes we have to jump before we have the parachute, which is terrifying. And this is in life in general, right? Sometimes it's about first saying yes to the thing and then figuring out how to do it. But sometimes it works that way as well. When I was in the monastery, I was doing massage. So we had acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And so I was, doing 15-minute, 10-minute massages for people before the acupuncture came. I had never done massage before. And, day one of my training there, my teacher just threw me into a room with someone. And he's like, do it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he said, you'll learn by doing it. And I would massage sometimes up to 20 people in one day, which is insane to think about it, but that's what happened. And I learned. I've massaged thousands of people now. I did this for years, sometimes 6 to 7 days a week while I was there. And and you learn by doing. Sometimes we have to overcome, whether it's the imposter syndrome, it's the not good enough feelings, the unworthiness, or just feeling like not able or capable, and really put ourselves out there in life to go through the fear. I was just saying today to someone that fear can either be a wall or it can be a tunnel. You can feel fear and that can block you from moving forward, or you can feel fear and you can do the thing anyway, and you can feel it and keep moving forward, and you could actually move through that fear and you're not stuck there. So allowing ourselves to grow and expand, and growth, they often say growth happens at the edge of the comfort zone. I would say yes. And also, there's a lot of things that are uncomfortable that you don't necessarily grow through. But I feel like when there's like a fear, but like an excitement, that's where growth often is, right? That's where we get to stretch. Are you, dear viewer, stretching in your life? Are you surrounded by people who are helping you grow? Are you being called forward? Are you being called into a higher standard, to go into a higher gear, to live your life with more intention, with more focus, with more personal power? Are you supported? Is your plant getting fed the nutrients that it needs to grow big and strong? Do you have a support system in place that is working, that is flourishing? And if you don't, what could that look like for you? How can you create that support system for yourself? What kinds of things do you need? Both the physical, mental, emotional, maybe people to help learn things, to teach you, maybe healers. Maybe you need spiritual coaches. But what kind of support do you need to get yourself to the next level so that you can be on that path of actual growth, being held accountable to that growth throughout this year, while you are holding yourself accountable on the other side of that? Thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to say what's up in the comments. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything that you would like to hear about. What's up, Peg from South Australia? Peg, I believe you just won the furthest listener competition. Bing, 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 bing. I will be sending you a golden meditation cushion. Just kidding, I don't have one of those. But yeah, let me know who's watching. Let me know what's going on. Happy to answer any questions. So, receiving this support and allowing ourselves to lean on others and allowing ourselves to grow through that. Allowing that vulnerability. I don't know. Do people feel like ashamed or something? Does anyone feel ashamed that they can't do it on their own? Is there anybody out there that's like, I kind of know that I need help, but I don't want to like tell anyone, or I don't want to like have to admit it? Or are people more just kind of like, oh, I really just don't have the time, or I just don't have the money? Or is there anyone out there that's like, I'm totally supported up and down, left and right, I'm perfectly good? Because I mean, I know for myself, like if I had $1 million, you know, I would be investing in like high level coaches, right? I would be investing in myself through other people, right? But I would be utilizing my funds to also help better myself, not solely, but also. So yeah, that's maybe a great question for y'all, is to let me know, are you getting the support that you need in your lives? And if not, what sort of support is lacking? And also in this 2024 year, what can you do? Or even better, what will you do? What can we right now, today, together on this call, decide? Can you decide that you've had enough of how things have been going, that you deserve more, to re-empower yourself to move forward in your life in a sustainable way, in a way that feels uplifting? And we all kind of go through these cycles, but sometimes the cycles, they go on for way too long. It's like we all have those times where we're just crushing it and we feel great and we're like on it, and whether it's like the gym or the diet or the relationship or the business, whatever the thing is, but it's like going and we're like, yeah, we're like riding high on this thing and we love life and we're excited and happy to wake up. And then we go through these periods where we feel kind of like tired and disempowered and blah. But sometimes we can go through that blah section for way, way too long. And, of course, on one hand, who's to say what's too long? And maybe that's what we need and can't judge it, etc. But I've seen for myself that when I have a good support network, I don't stay in the blah for that long. And almost always the blah is that there's certain feelings that are stuck. There's certain things that happened that I'm not facing. And when we don't want to face and feel what's happening, we can kind of like skirt to the side. We can kind of get lost in indulgence. Some people smoke or drink or turn to media or sex. That we turn to these stimulating pleasures that dull the mind, that dull our feelings, right? A lot of people, they smoke pot every day and they say, it's great, I like it, I'm fine. I can say, from someone who spent a few years of their life smoking pot every day, this was before the monastery, that it 100% dulled my emotions. 100% left me in this kind of like cloud, left me in this kind of comfortable cloud without having to deal with a lot of problems. So we can turn to things that are distracting and stimulating, that feel pleasurable, but then often that is linked to feeling depressed, right? It's like an addiction. It's like an addict, right? You turn to drugs and that becomes your source of happiness, and you get into these spirals, and then you start creating beliefs about yourself and you feel ashamed of yourself and create stories and behaviors around those stories. And the whole thing gets more and more entrenched and it becomes solid. All right. What I'm telling you guys right now, this is very, very, very important. All right. This is like one of the most important things you've heard in a while. Unless I already said this on my last talk. I don't know. But if we're not facing things that we don't want to feel, we have things we don't want to be feeling, we're not facing things, right? We engage in behaviors that are distracting from that thing. And we start creating feelings around that, and we create beliefs around that, we create identity around that, and we form something that feels solid, right? We'll form a story about not being good enough, or that, it's their fault, right? The people out there are all assholes, or they're this, or they're that. And we blame everything outside of ourselves. We get bitter and we shut down. And sometimes it all just kind of comes back to the fact that, like, well, I was just afraid and I didn't want to feel or face that fear. So I just shut down, for instance, or I felt sad. Because I didn't want to feel my sadness, I instead just started shutting down my heart, and then I didn't allow in relationships. And then anytime people tried to approach me, I kind of like pushed them away, but then blamed them and gaslit them. That's their fault, and that's why I can't trust people, and that's why all men are the same, right? That we create these whole things, these stories and these patterns and these beliefs, and we make things solid. Even though there was nothing really solid to begin with, we make them solid. And we do it to ourselves. One of the quotes from the Buddha is, and the Buddha was a man of metaphor and simile, that he would always give his teachings and create these metaphors and these similes. Beautiful ones, really beautiful, beautiful, clear associations to highlight, to depict situations we understood what he was talking about. But one of my favorite things he said was, monks, there is nothing as intractable as the human mind. So human intractable, right? So it's like something's like closed up and it's really tight, right? It's pulled in, it's entract. And you can't pull it out. You can't do it. It's just tight and you can't move it, right? It's intractable. You can't open it back up again like a clam. It's just stuck. There's nothing as intractable as the human mind. Monks, it is so intractable. It's an interesting word to use, but anyway, so intractable that it is hard for me to find a simile for it. Which I just think is brilliant. It's just the Buddha saying is that there's nothing that is just so tight and rigid and clinging on as our minds. There is nothing, even with a clamshell, even with a vault door, you just put a piece of dynamite in that and you blow it up, right? Everything externally, there's something stronger than it that can open it up. But the human mind, our own mind, if we make something solid, if we get tight around some story and some belief, and we don't want to let it go and we don't want to look at it, there is nothing that can get through to that until we are ready, until we are ripe through whatever conditions to examine that thing. This is one of our greatest strengths and greatest weaknesses, right? Because that intractability can be used to our benefit. If we're decided and certain and set on something, that can be the most amazing path. That's how in the time of the Buddha people reached enlightenment. They just decided to do the thing and they boom went and practiced in the forest and they worked on it. They've just decided this is what I'm going to do, right? So that intractability, but in a positive direction. But that same mechanism we often use to our disadvantage, and it sinks us into a pit of suffering and despair, and we bring often others down with us, including those that love us the most. So how important is it to examine ourselves, examine our minds, to turn inwards, to be open to new understandings, new truths? one of my kind of tenets is to always allow the possibility that I know nothing. I found that to be a great ally throughout my life. Is just there's always just like a little mechanism in the back of my mind that just knows I could be completely wrong about everything. So I still believe in things, I still make choices, I still decide, and I still go for it. And I'm always open to the possibility that I have no idea what I'm talking about, that my perception is way off. You know, Alan Watts said something amazing. He said the everyday human consciousness, so our consciousness, he said in one time, in one way, it's a source of perception, right? Our consciousness is perceiving everything. So it's on one hand the source of awareness, but simultaneously it's a source of ignorance. Because the everyday human consciousness leaves out more than it takes in. Okay, so take a moment with that one. Everyday human consciousness leaves out more than it takes in. Right? As much as we're aware, we can see and hear and feel and smell and think, and as much as we're aware of the space in this thing, our awareness actually leaves out more information than it's taking in. If you look at a wavelength spectrum, right, from whatever giant pulsar wave, I don't know what they'd be called, right, gamma waves, whatever they are, you know, microwaves and ultraviolet and infrared, whatever, and then, you know, and then there's this little spectrum, right? If the wavelength spectrum is like from here to here, we'll say, right, the actual spectrum of like color that we see is like that our entire reality is just perceiving this little spectrum of vibration, with vibrations going for infinity in either direction, of these really small intense waves and then these bigger longer waves. We're only perceiving this little merging point right here, like, you know, a fraction of a percent. I mean, if it goes on for infinity, there's not even a percentile, right? It's just, we just perceive this little thing that's our entire reality. I always think that cats can see ghosts, because sometimes I'll sit with cats and there's like two cats. This is like happened to me. There's like two cats in a room, and both of the cats at the same time are like, huh, 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 and they're like watching something that just like zipped across the room, down, up, down, across the room, back. Something that's moving at like lightning speed, right? Just from here to there, up, down, there, you know, faster than any bug or anything can move. And I'm here looking, there's nothing there. I mean, I don't see any, I'd see an insect, but both cats are just following this thing simultaneously with their eyes. So they see something together, but it's not within our visible spectrum, right? Cats have these kind of like conical eyes where they have like their eyes like have that thing, right? It's like cool, like kind of slivers, because they see different spectrum of stuff. They see a different spectrum of stuff, right? So their spectrum is taking in something that our spectrum leaves out. So we are perceiving just a minuscule sliver of everything that's possible to perceive. Crazy. And also why it's important to have support, kind of bringing back that thing, is as Thich Nhat Hanh says, we have like the Sangha eyes, right? So when you're in a community, when you're with a lot of people, other people can see things that you can't see, right? We all have these blind spots. So we all can perceive and see things that other people can't see and perceive. Sometimes it's like maddening. Sometimes we're like, how can you not see that? But we're all trained differently, you know, we all grew up differently. But, you know, having those different eyes to perceive, other people helping to perceive things that we're struggling with perceiving. It's all tied into it, you know. Anyway, I feel like I had a point that I lost somewhere along the line, but that's okay. Let me know in the comments what you're hearing, what came up for you. What's up, April? Hey, Cody. What's up, Zen Buddha? How you doing, brother? Yeah, let me know what you guys are receiving from all of this. We're going to be doing a powerful healing meditation portal in a moment. Hello, Randy. Cool. All right, so if you guys have nothing to share, then we can get right into it. Giving you a few more moments. I'm aware that there's kind of like a delay in all this. But if not, when you are ready, I invite you to get into a comfortable position. Sitting or laying down, you can close your eyes and take some deep, relaxing breaths. Allow yourself to soften, becoming receptive. With your eyes closed as you're taking some deep breaths, getting in touch with the space around your body and the space on the other side of you. As I make this energy ball between my hands, I am imagining you within that ball. So imagine that there are these giant Seth hands on either side of you, just channeling this energy in as you relax and breathe. Letting this energy go wherever it is needed. Taking deep breaths, really pulling this in. And anywhere that you're feeling stuck, any process that you're in that's having trouble moving through, allowing this energy to come into there. Usually when we're stuck, it's because we do not have enough energy to move through the process that we are in. there are any feelings that are asking to be felt, letting them come up. If there are any situations in your life that are needing attention, that are needing care, that are needing some extra energy to flow into them, just opening up the channels to it, allowing this energy to go wherever it's needed. All of the places you've closed off to, your pain, your confusion, the stuff you don't know what to do about, so you kind of shut down around it. Right now, just open back up into those places and allow the energy to flow through. Let's not make things so solid, so intractable. Allow things to be flowy. Allow things the ability to move. Breathing into the space around you. And letting this energy flow from outside of you to inside of you, anywhere it wants to go, and also back out if there's anywhere that it needs to go. And allowing anything to leave that is ready to leave, creating a field of protection around us. We are safe, we are protected, we deserve to be happy and free. We claim our space or energy field, removing any foreign attachments, any residue, any cords, entities, programs, anything that doesn't belong to us. Same way you would just kind of sweep some dirt off of your floor out the front door, just allowing all of that stuff to just move out of the energy field. Return to sender, return to source. It's all the same. Just shifting everything into wholeness. Keeping our temple clean. And as we breathe again, simultaneously letting go of control, while allowing this healing energy to move through. Anywhere it needs to go. It's feeling of peace that's flowing in, safety, wholeness. It's really this easy, just our intention. Allowing ourselves to receive, allowing the energies to shift, allowing ourselves to be sourced with the energy. Allowing ourselves to be filled up. Allowing our energy fields to be filled up. Allowing the situations in our lives to be sourced with enough energy that they can shift all on their own. Taking some deep breaths. And just giving yourselves a few moments to integrate. Deep, full breaths. Really let that in. Breathing in from the space around you into the body. Slowly coming back. I'm just noticing the difference, noticing how you feel now. What shifted for you? What is shifting? If you're on the East Coast and this put you to sleep, you don't have to answer me. If you're still in it, stay in it. I want to thank you guys for being a part of this process this evening. Seth Infinity Monk here. Remember to check me out on Spotify, both Seth Monk Meditations. I have about 200 talks on meditation for free that you can drop in with, as well as a brand new Seth Monk Handpan album on Spotify. Please connect with that. Please give me a follow on Spotify. I'd really support me. Seth Monk Handpan on Spotify. And you can listen to some good hand panning. I have one called The Portal Pan, which is a 35-minute long track. Definitely the longest hand pan track on Spotify, which you can listen and journey to, which is lovely. And also, if any of you are looking for support, individual support, I am here for you. It is what I do. The journey that I go on with my clients are life-changing. They're incredibly deep, profound, powerful. I have dozens of testimonials in my inboxes. And it's always people that are going through like a big life transition, like something's just happening. Either they're ready to get to that next level or everything's falling apart and they just need the support. But that's what I'm here for. You know, that's really what I'm here for, is to hold these transformational containers for people, to help them get organized in their hearts and their minds, help them get in touch with feelings that have been lost, help correct their views and perspectives on situations and stories, how to really release the things that are disempowering and not helpful, and clear up that confusion and really start to align and connect people with the energies that they want to be embodying, to rise into that version of themselves that they know is possible, that they would call their highest version of themselves. Yeah, if you're feeling like that is something that you're interested in, send me a message. Let's jump on a call. I am here to help. I have space probably just for 1 or 2 more clients right now. I'm taking them on. So if you feel like you would like to fill that last spot, let me know. For those of you in Los Angeles, I am leading an event on Friday night at the Mindry in Malibu at 6:30 p.m. Feel free to come and experience some good stuff. Otherwise, thank you all again so much for joining me Tuesday night. It is my pleasure to be here. I have my Venmo or PayPal link up on my Facebook. Feel free to send me some financial support and love as well, and always an appreciation of that. Otherwise, I wish you all a really beautiful, beautiful week. Hope you are all doing amazingly in your corners of the world. Hope to see you back here next Tuesday night for another exciting edition of TNL. And until then, thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening. Tuesday Night Live out.